And we begin this morning with an incredible story of forgiveness and faith. Kent Whitaker and his wife Tricia were married for 28 years and had 2 college-age sons when an unspeakable tragedy struck their family. It was Kent's faith that lifted him out of darkness as he fought and continues to fight for the only family he has left. In December 2003, the Whitaker family arrived home from a dinner out, only to have their lives shattered.
Sherman 911, station emergency.
I've been shot. We were walking in the house. My brother, my mom, and my dad.
What was waiting for the family of 4 was the result of a heinous plot. A masked gunman lying in wait inside their Sugar Land, Texas home. First shot, 19-year-old Kevin. Then mom, Tricia. Both died. Son Bart and dad Kent, both wounded.
We have one subject right now is shot in the arm. Apparently the whole family's been shot.
As Kent was lying in his hospital bed, he says he was first overtaken with anger, but then turned to his Christian faith. Before he left the hospital, he vowed to forgive the person who killed his wife of 28 years and his son Kevin. But what Kent did not know, the person he was vowing to forgive was his own surviving son, Bart.
I've made some really bad mistakes in my life. I was a very messed up young man.
Bart admits he planned the murders and hired the hitman. Prosecutors say the reason was irrational hate. Bart says it was hate for himself.
I don't think my dissatisfaction turned to outright hatred until high school. There was a point in there, I guess, sophomore year where I was just so tired of being me.
Bart Whitaker was sentenced to death. As he told reporter Lisa Ling during a special on the OWN network,
I can go back and tell you why I felt so inadequate and why I felt that my parents didn't love me.
Kent, do you want me to call the prison and make sure we can get in?
His dad Kent stuck to his vow and forgave his son, and is now fighting to have his son's death sentence commuted to life in prison. At this point, Bart has few options left. The U.S. Supreme Court has refused to hear his case. He is currently appealing to the Texas governor, but the state of Texas has set an execution date of February 22nd, just over 2 weeks from now.
If that's what happens, I'm going to be on the other side of the glass. He's going to know I'm there.
Kent Whitaker is here with me now. Welcome, Kent. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megan.
Let's go back to the day of the murders. In the moments thereafter, when you came to, when you had your consciousness and you were realizing what happened, did you have any idea at first that it might be Bart behind it?
Not at all. I had no idea why this had happened. It was such a surprise. We weren't expecting anything, and I had no idea who had done it.
Had there been any trouble with him prior to that?
There'd been, some problems with every kid, but I was always the kind of dad that pursued things to find out why things had happened, and every time that we ran into a problem, it seemed like there was an acceptable, logical excuse that I was very skeptical, but I was trying very hard to do the right thing.
You had been an active, involved father.
Yes.
You took long bike rides with Bart.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you or your wife were absentee.
Not at all. We were very active, hands-on parents. You mentioned our cycling. For a dozen years, Bart and I did distance bicycling. And, when you're on a bike with somebody for 100 miles, you have a lot of chance to visit and talk. And his mental illness was something that Tricia and we never saw. We never saw. Nobody realized it.
So for 7 months after the murders, he lived with you in your home.
Yes.
He was shot in the arm, which was, we now know, orchestrated by him and the hitman. And you both recovered. He was under suspicion during that time.
Yes.
Did you believe during that time it could be him?
I didn't know. I knew that anything is possible, and there was a chance that he was involved in some way. But I also wasn't going to abandon my only son simply because the police said he was their #1 suspect. I told both Bart and the police that if I saw anything that gave rise to suspicions, I would tell them, but that I wasn't going to abandon my son just because they wanted me to.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a critical admission by a former roommate of his who went to the police and said at one point Bart had asked him to help him kill his family.
Yes.
And that led to police really zeroing in on Bart. And they did find the two men who had helped Bart commit these crimes, the hitman, the getaway driver. And Bart fled to Mexico for a time. I mean, do you remember in your own mind the moment where you came to terms with the fact that Bart had been behind the whole thing?
I was aware very early that he might be behind the whole thing, but it wasn't really until he left that the suspicion became a pretty clear certainty. I knew that if he really was involved with this at all, that he was going to need someone to show him that God forgives. So I was not going to leave him.
Before we get to what happened next, do you have anything you want to say to other parents out there now about clues, you know, red flags, anything that, in retrospect, you wish you had seen or you hope other parents pay attention to?
I think that mental illness in our country has gotten so much more prevalent. And the only thing I guess I would say is be involved with your kids, pay attention to them, listen to them, tell them regularly that you love them, and that anything, if there's anything that they need to talk to you about, that you will accept them, and there would be no rejection, that you would just be by their side and help them fight through whatever it is.
Because Bart talks now about how he felt there were two versions of him. There was this version that his family had in their heads of Bart, and then there was what he was actually feeling about himself. Hatred, he says, toward himself and his inability to measure up. Has he talked to you since, Kent, about what those moments were like for him, walking with your family through those doors, the only one of you knowing what was about to happen?
He told me, and we've had, by the way, our relationship has improved greatly. When he came back from Mexico, he apologized to me and told me that he didn't know why it had happened, but that they were going to try to figure out what had happened. But what was the question again?
Whether he's explained to you what it was like for him to walk through those doors.
His whole life for years, and I'm so sorry that nobody saw this, was living behind a mask. And he told me that that night was kind of like a dream, that he wasn't really aware of it happening to him. He was watching it, somebody else was doing this, all this was happening with somebody else. And he said that when it got down to the very end, till it actually happened, he didn't think it would actually happen. He thought it would stop.
They had been at a dinner celebrating his graduation from college. It turned out he wasn't graduating from college. He wasn't actually enrolled in college. A lot of kids lie because they don't feel they're measuring up. This obviously was something in a class of its own. He goes to trial. He's convicted. You begged the DA not to push for the death penalty. Begged the DA. They didn't listen.
No.
Did they ever explain to you why? Why the surviving victim's desires? And your wife's family wasn't in support of the death penalty either. Why it mattered so little?
I don't know. Every victim in this awful, awful crime, Tricia's family, my parents, everybody, we pleaded with the district attorney for a year and a half to accept 2 back-to-back 40-year life sentences. And at one point, I met with the assistant DA who prosecuted the case, and after an hour's discussion about it, he said, "So, Mr. Whitaker, are you asking me not to pursue the death penalty in this case?" And I wanted him to know just how important it was to me. So I got out of my chair. I actually got down on the floor on my knees, and I said, "No, I'm begging you not to pursue the death penalty." And that was how the meeting ended. And I left there believing that they had finally listened, but they would not back away from pursuing the death penalty. And as long as that was on the table, Bart's attorney wouldn't let him plead guilty, because he said, if you do that, it goes directly to the penalty phase.
Right, there's a reason to
Yes,
try to bargain, to try
yes.
to bargain to get
And
that off the table.
We thought that they would accept that plea deal, but they wouldn't.
So they haven't agreed, and Bart is scheduled for execution in just about 2 weeks. After the break, we'll talk about what you're doing to stop that and what your plans are if you cannot. Don't go away.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.